Hey guys, I'm Volcano Style. If you got excited seeing a new video in my feed, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. I've got to be perfectly honest, this isn't a video I want to make. The tutorial for new Twisted Treeline is coming probably Monday or Tuesday and is probably going to be as huge as the last in-depth guide, so luckily I'm working on it early. Problem is, it's hard to make an objective guide when I've got a whole bunch of things bugging me while writing about it, and it'll help me to air them so I don't go on a tangent while describing a new mechanic about how much I think it sucks. So before I post the guide, I'm going to do what Riot asked and give feedback. Yes, it's an opinion video. My opinion, subjectivity, disregard as you please. This is my opinion as a mid-ELO regular Twisted Treeline player. I prefer the old map, and it bums me out that I do. Now, I haven't said that it's a bad map, because that's not what I think at all. I stand by what I said in the introduction to this series. I think it's an overall improvement, and it's not the Twisted Treeline that me and other players are used to. I'm not angry about it, I'm not pulling out pitchforks. If anything, I'm upset with myself because I really do enjoy Twisted Treeline more than Summoner's Rift, and I wanted to like this one. I think the map is beautiful, and there's clearly a lot of effort and thought that's gone into everything. Half the reason I started Untwisting the Trees was because I really did want people to give Twisted Treeline a chance to understand and enjoy it as a map rather than an ELO grab, and so I could hopefully drum up some support from my existing friends to play the new map. But I don't like it as much as old Twisted Treeline. Some of us, myself hopefully included, are going to get over the teething troubles and enjoy it. But I'm worried that the map is too different to what Twisted Treeline used to be for some of us to enjoy it. Let's start with a positive, because I don't want this to be a downer of an episode or to come across as if I'm whining about change or my map. Firstly, I really like the new items. Oh, that was simple enough. Mainly, what I like is that the remake homed in directly on everything I felt was wrong with the original map. That the only things worth contesting were in the top half and that it was too easy to turtle indefinitely. Minion pathing was broken, they would kill themselves in the fountain even without the slightest tug of aggro. The jungle was too inaccessible to too many champions and to too many players without runes and masteries, and again because the jungle was in the top half of the jungle it took too much pressure off of bot lane, and the meta just wasn't initially obvious. If that's what stopped you playing before, then yes, the new Twisted Treeline fixes these problems. Except, the fixes are a little drastic, I feel. The base redesign is one of the things I wholeheartedly agree on. The addition of the wall not only stops the losing team kiting in creeps, but it stops being able to skirmish from perpetually full health. I don't think anyone disagrees that this is a positive change. I'm personally going to miss the ability to hop the base wall, but that's the most pedantic of my gripes. There's a lot of other changes I like. I like that the openness of the map fixes any wonky fog of war and pathfinding. I like the wideness of top lane, making it less bruiser-centric, even if it does mean the lanes are close to mirrored at this point. The jungle simplification removes the randomness and opens up the number of champions who can do camps. Except I'm worried that the role of jungler itself has been made completely redundant. There's no buff camps. It doesn't feel like there's a reliable source of farm in the jungle anymore. And if there is, you're going to be fighting over every wraith, every wolf, every golem from both your team and the enemy. Altars don't need a smite, Vilemore doesn't even spawn until 10 minutes, and there's nothing else up in that direction because there's not a top jungle anymore. Wolf buff is gone, that's a subset of Vilemore now. Ghast buff is gone, that's a mid-map speed boost now. Ebonmore is gone, and that's a standardized reward for holding both altars captured, more or less. And to top it all off, gold from creeps has been brought down to similar figures on Summoner's Rift because of the expected one altar each status quo. And I just have to ask, why? The fact that there was more gold going around and more sources of gold to be had was what made Twisted Treeline so fun and frantic to me. The fact you could play a jungler and not be entirely gank reliant to keep up in farm, but also being at constant risk from the jungle itself. You could try and sneak a solo Ebonmore, but if you were caught out you were probably dead. This probably applied to Wolf and Ghast in the early part of the game. The same for Grez, because there were so many different directions to potentially be ganked from. The fact there were multiple map objectives to control, and control as either a team or an individual. The top jungle was diverse and maze-like and covered in brush and felt like a forest of twisted trees. You had the choice of pressuring Ebonmore or bot lane. You had the choice of clearing buff camps or trying to contest Grez or gank. All there is now is a few minor camps and objectives that lock themselves off for 90 seconds once they've been decided. Objectives you can't help but be close to because there's nothing else on the map. Having less objectives and forcing teamfights doesn't make for faster games, and I don't think it makes for fun games. It feels artificial. I think that's the reason a lot of people are saying this feels too close to Dominion, and it has nothing to do with the fact that there are capture points. I'd love to say I'm not opposed to the alters, I really would, but I can't help but be. It's an interesting idea. I appreciate that you've tried to create a game mode that's a hybrid between Dominion and Summoner's Rift, which was what Twisted Treeline kind of was in this first place. But the reason I and several others are upset is that this feels like a different game mode is replacing what was originally just a different map. Let's use a slightly hyperbolic and theoretical and not at all accurate example. Let's say no one played Two Fort because of a huge error in the map design that heavily favoured fighting in a minor, small part of the map because of awkwardly positioned intelligence capture points. If Valve had fixed this problem but turned Two Fort into a payload-only map in the process, I think there'd be a fair bit of vicious backlash. I understand that you wanted to open the game up to AD carries and supports and AP characters, but it feels like junglers have kind of been shut out. Why couldn't the speed booster have been a stronger team-wide ghast buff? Why couldn't the alters have been a wolf buff? Or just a new buff? Why did Twisted Treeline have to have a layer of complexity other than farm and kill the Nexus when it was already simpler than Summoner's Rift was in that respect? You've tried to stop the map favouring the defensive by giving the aggressors a permanent, tangible advantage worth more than any gold or kill snowball. That's not interesting to me. I've played the new map, I've watched Diamond ELO players play the new map, and I just find it really boring. TLDR, my first impressions feels like there's less gold, less objectives to fight over, and it feels neither as fun or strategic as old Twisted Treeline, and that kind of sucks for me. But that's okay. If I don't like it, I don't have to play. But I'll miss what I did like playing. And I hope that if Gnome or Braca or any other Riot who was kind enough to take the time to watch this appreciates my feedback. But I don't expect the map to change. And if I'm in the minority like I think I am, then I hope it doesn't change because it shouldn't. I want this remake to be successful. I hope it encourages a lot of people to play it and discover a new metagame that makes me think I was wrong, so I'll pick it up again. I want to play it, why wouldn't I? But I'm sorry to say I haven't had the best first impression. And it's solely because, as I say about practically every song my friends send me, I think it's good, I appreciate the effort that went into it, but I'm not sure I like it. But I'm a 3v3 player, I make 3v3 guides. I'm not the best player, I'm not the best teacher, but if I got some of you to play and enjoy the old Twisted Treeline, then I've already done my job. So, join me next time for a guide for the new Twisted Treeline. I'm Volcano Style, and thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, if you do bring the old map back, can you make it 6v6 again?